we start with my colleague Professor Nohr from Braunschweig, who has reconstructed with his team an old war game from the Peruvian army. So, Rolf,
thank you very much.
The stage is yours.
Oh, thank you. Good morning. I hope you can hear me. Yeah, okay. Wonderful. Thank you for the kind invitation. Thank you for the possibility to show you a little bit of our work we do in Braunschweig. And as we are staged in Braunschweig, it's very clear we worked on the Braunschweig Kriegsspiel. And I will tell you some few impressions about what this game is, and I will give you a short impression why we're doing it. I'm a media scientist myself. I'm working now for 15 years in the field of game studies, the idea of analyzing the cultural ideas of why we play, what is gaming, what is playing, such things. And I started my research working on computer games, popular computer games. Doing that, we recognized very, very early that there are interconnections between different forms of games, all running to what we call popular computer games. So I did a research project called Playing Strategically, where we researched popular strategy games and the interconnection between these games and former serious games. Let's call them serious games. For example, you can see here at the slide. Whoop. No laser pointer. No. Okay. You see a popular game called Future Force Company Commander. This is a real-time strategy game based on the US Army's future combat system. You have a serious game, an army game, which is transformed into a, let's call it a popular game. That is very interesting. Where does this idea of strategic playing, of strategic gaming is coming from? And where are the traces of this idea of playing strategically? If you look at something like business gaming and business simulations, you will clearly find roots back to the history of military gaming. Also, you can find roots back to forms of edutainment, teaching, pedagogical traces, thoughts, things like that. So at the moment, we're researching the early roots of business gaming with the question and with a special perspective on what are the interconnections between strategy games, military games, playfulness, the idea of culture of playing, and the idea of changing rationalities in business at the point where the computer enters the game. So we are looking at 1950 to 1970. One example we are looking at is the Planspiel UB10 from Knut Bleicher. Maybe some of you know it. We also will have a short workshop on the UB10. You can find it on the program. But what I'm talking about now is the Helvegian game. We discovered it years ago. We discovered it at Brunswick, which is no surprise, and we reconstructed it. And it was very interesting to reconstruct a game like this, because you can find very much interesting things, not only reading a game or looking at the manual, but playing it. You have to feel a game. What I'm talking about to you, you know what I mean. Yeah? You can't analyze a game by just looking at it, you have to play it. So we reconstructed it, which was more or less very easy, because this game is coming as a book to us. We found the book, we read the manual, and we reconstructed the game, because the book is meant to build the game. There wasn't a totally sellable thing like the board or something like that. It's only the book. So, and it was developed by Johann Ludwig Christian Hellwig. He was born in 1743 in Garz in Western Pomeranian and died in October of 1831 in Brunswick. He worked as a teacher in 2 schools in Brunswick, held the chair of philosophy at the University of Helmstedt, and in 1790 he received the chair of mathematics and natural science at the military school in Brunswick. After the Napoleon Interludium in Brunswick, 1802, he became council and professor at the Carolinum in Brunswick, which is now known as the Technical University of Brunswick, one of the oldest technical universities. And I always like this slide because this is the first building where the technical university was in. It's nice to see what the big technical university started at. Yeah? Crappy place. Helwig made himself a name as a pioneer in modern life insurances. That's maybe a thing nobody knows but me. He developed the algorithm which is necessarily for calculating life insurances up to now. That's maybe the most important thing he did. And he was teacher of Gauss, and he had a large collection of insects because he was etymologist. And this is the Helvigia elegans, I think it's a wasp or something like that, named after him. Nice to know. But we're here to talk about his game. The Helwig game can be seen as an early version of tabletop games. These tabletop games refers to a strategy game system where miniatures, previously casted from tin or cut out of paper or something like that, or plastic figures today, are moved on surfaces without distinct playing fields. That's what we do it these days. But the war game, developed in 1780, can be seen as something different. It's exemplary for a clutch of similar games from these times. Helwig's game is chess-based, like most of the games out of this time, and can be vaguely combined or put in context with the game of Christoph Weickmann, the chess game from 1644, card games like Jeu de la Guerre or Jeu de la Fortification from the early 18th century from Venturi, or the both Reiswitz games developed in 1797 and 1811. The Kriegsspiel came to us in form of a book. That is the manual of this game. And as you can see, there are two manuals. The first one, here's the laser pointer. The first one from 1780 is more or less a chess game. You can find all the rules out of chess. You can recognize easily the king and all the other figures transformed into a military context. When you look at the version from 1809 and 1803, there are different versions. This is a more narrative setting. There you have no more the talking about chess-based game, but you have the talking about a strategic game with all the narrationally context, with all the fullness and richness of a game which is built to educate young pupils for military service, which is very interesting. What we found out by comparing these both versions of the game is both of them are bad game design. There is a good point why nobody knows Helwig. Well, everybody's talking about Reiswitz and so on. Nobody's talking about Helwig. He's a footnote in history because these games are crap. To be clear, it's real bad game design. There are 250 rules in the first version. 250. It's impossible to play. It took us months to get something out of this book which is more or less playable. It's okay, you can play it. I can explain it to you. Bring with you about 8 hours. That's the time you will need to play one round of Helwig game. 8 hours. Maybe also bad game design, 8 hours. The idea is you're playing on a board you can design by yourself. You need a huge terrain, about 1,600 similar game fields, but you can make the terrain like you want to. You can carve it yourself, you can build it yourself, you can make it up, whatever you have in mind to simulate. This is just what Helwig made as a point, you can do it. We used this plate just to have a start, but you can build it like you want to. You have lots of rivers, you have wood, you have villages, and you have two major fortifications, the black one and the white one. And the idea is to run your army to the enemy fortress, isolate it, over time or overrun it. Then you have won. But the main point is you won't be able to do it. If both parties are on the same level of tactical and strategical knowing, you can't do it. That's our outcome of research. We never managed to end up a game, because every time you're ending somewhere here in a bloody fight. Or you play it like a chess game. Then it's a tactical and strategical game, thinking about movements in space, thinking about what your enemy is thinking, you are thinking, he is thinking. That's the main point of playing these Helvig game. These are also some ideas of Helvig how to play, to build the figurines, but you can do it like you want to. You have you have infantry. You have infantry. You have dragon. How they called infantry's on horses. Cavalry. Thank you very much. And of course you have artillery in different forms, and you have so-called bridge wagons, where you can transport bridges to cross the rivers. That's it, more or less. Helvig developed a notation system. This is the original, or some plates of the original notation system. This is what we made out of it. We translated it a little bit and made it compatible to computers. So you can play the game on paper, as a pen and paper version. Yeah, just scratching and making some notes about your figurines moving on the terrain, just by a notation system, which is very complex, I tell you. And this is how the reconstruction looks at the moment. This is what we built, but everybody of you is it's possible for you to rebuild it on your own. You can find the book. I can give you the online address. You can have the rules, and you can rebuild it and play it for your own. To make it a little bit easier, we brought our board with us. It's based at the library. There is a workshop here tomorrow at 2:30 to 4:30, and there I can tell you a little bit more about the Helvigian game. And if you have the time, we can play around, but not in the 2 hours. Bring some beer with you. We stay in the evening, and we play the 8 hours of the Helvig game. So I'm happy to see you there. Thank you very much.